Call to order our special meeting of council for Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. Our first order of business is bylaws, but Councillor Parslow, you wanted to raise something before we go to bylaws.
Yes, thank you very much for letting me do this. Council has become aware of the need for capital funding to deal with infrastructure at one of our properties. And I am proposing that we discuss, I'm proposing a motion that we adjust our financial plan and our tax rate so as to raise approximately $500,000 to apply to that needed infrastructure. I believe the tax rate would require probably an adjustment of about 4%, but our finance officer would do that. Let us know about that.
Okay, so before we propose the motion, or now that we have that indication, I'd like to go back to administration for your direction in terms of procedurally how and what we do as we're close to our third reading of the financial plan bylaw and tax rate.
Through your worship, I can go over the procedures that are required. The financial plan needs to be adopted before the tax rate bylaw. And before you can provide any readings to the financial plan, you need to have some public consultation, which has taken place already. We need to consider first three readings to both bylaws by May 11th at the latest, which would allow consideration of adoption on the 14th on Monday.
And through your worship, I think Adam has some numbers.
Okay.
But don't breathe.
Okay, hold a second. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So what Councillor Parslow is suggesting that we alter it to have a tax increase of 4%?
Whatever's necessary to generate $500,000.
Whatever's necessary to generate $500,000? Okay.
Through your worship, before if there's any more discussion, I believe we need a seconder.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a surprise for me. I
Yeah,
had no idea.
for everyone.
Yeah, okay.
I was just trying to get it procedurally what's going to be necessary.
Yeah,
So
let's get it right.
So
is that the motion then?
so that's the motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay.
For
Go ahead, Councillor Rogers.
I just got it answered. Okay. I don't know what to think right now. I guess I'll just wait until this just plays out. I'll get back to you. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's Duncan. Go ahead.
So through your worship, I'll just let Adam talk about what that
Sure.
is now. We were made aware just briefly before the meeting, so these are loose numbers that we've pulled together, and obviously throughout the financial process and the budget process, we've put a lot of work into the numbers and the impact on assessment and what that would look like to individual residents. Although we don't focus on mill rate, there was an increase to the mill rate this year, and that was really a focus on tax levied and try to level out what people paid previously to this year. But Adam has some numbers, loose numbers.
Yeah, to raise an extra $500,000, an additional, I've split the tax increase across residential, light industry, and commercial. Their rates will be 50% worth the increase to residents because they're already at a higher levy, so to keep things equitable in the mix of taxation. It works out to a 4.66% increase over what was paid last year for residential and a 2.33 increase over what was paid last year for commercial and industrial, light industrial.
Thank you. So any other conversation, any other discussion or comments? Duncan?
So through your worship, I would just talk about deadlines and process. I believe we need to have everything in to the province by
The 15th.
the 15th of May. So this is a very late change. And it's been a very robust process that started December 14th, talking about capital and those projects. And our recommendation is to move forward with the existing plan, and if there is an urgency for capital, to look at other options.
Okay. Councillor Schumann?
So that was my question, is within the budget, within all the envelopes, within somewhere in there, potentially we could find some money for capital emergency or project within there perhaps? Like perhaps we do not have to do this and really put a wrench into the whole thing. We might be able to find those funds somewhere else, maybe not to that extent.
So,
Not that we know what the extent is.
so through your worship, it would be, there isn't an incredible amount of surplus built into the budget. This would most likely be at the expense of maybe another project that would be postponed possibly.
Yeah, the difficulty is obviously the timing in terms of at this late date, and I don't know how we'll have the opportunity to engage, to have the discussion with council, and also to get it done by the 11th, because I know 3 of us are gone next week for the whole week, and so to be able to have that discussion and having engaged the public now is the aspect for me. But Councillor Parslow did raise it with me this morning, and I said, look, bring it on, we got a budget meeting, and have some conversation. Councillor Wilbur and then Councillor Javeka.
Well, I'm in agreement actually with what Councillor Schumann just said. That's kind of what my thought was. We're kind of late in the game, but I also think anything like that, there would be grant opportunities for us to look at. And there's plenty of opportunities out there. As we don't even know where we're at with that yet. So I have a hard time making a decision saying we're going to do this to raise this much money when we don't actually know if that's what we need.
Councillor Javeka?
So is it a requirement now, if this motion passed, to have another consultation with the public?
No.
So what delays are you worried about?
Well, we have to have it done by the 14th, and so we'd have to have another meeting before then. We can't give it third reading. We have to bring the financial plan back with the revised changes. Council then discuss it and then would move it forward, and I don't know how we would do that in the next week when we're gone for all of next week almost. And we have to give notice, and in fairness to council, they got to have information, and that's just the time frame. That's all I'm worried about. And like I say, we leave Monday for North Central Local Government Association, and not back till next Friday, and it's got to be for Monday. And go ahead, Councillor Roger.
Yeah. One question I was going to ask before this was, is the tax rate when it was set, is that going to be for the next 5 years? Are we expected to see another tax rate increase within the 5 years? Because some of the courses that I've been sent to over the last few years was, if you increase the mill rate, tax rate, if you increase that, you should make sure that you increase it enough to last to suit your 5-year plan. I was in favor of the tax increase as it was according to the plan. The financial plan, personally, I was actually not in favor of. So I'm kind of torn here right now, because I think the timing of bringing this forward is unfortunate. Right now I'm sitting here struggling, and I'm going, well, I'm not in favor of changing this plan on such a short notice, and you're not going to get any consultation from the public. And it's a 4.66 tax increase, and I know, I guess I'm gonna have to, someone's gonna have to convince me to change my mind, but I can't support it.
Yep, go ahead.
I guess my feeling is that, you know, we've gone through this budget in detail, and there's been a lot of things deferred and other things supported, and you know, with new needs coming on stream, I think we're fooling ourselves if we can keep covering off, you know, these little crises by taking away from other projects. I think at some point we need to start recognizing that we've got some issues, and you know, it's unfortunate that to have a tax increase, but at some point, you know, we, council, and the community have to recognize that we've got, you know, some needs there that we're not covering off. So I would support it. And as far as, you know, meetings, you know, we've got this Friday, we could have a meeting on the 4th. That's 2 days. That gives us time to advertise and everything, I believe. So anyways, I support the notion. I think it's important to send a message out that we, you know, especially right now, I mean, we're in the process of trying to come to terms with fiscal gap and operational costs, you know, the Gord McIntosh exercise, and the only thing if we could take that money from operations somehow, you know, and reduce some of the things that we're doing, or the money that we're spending on other things, you know, that would suit me. But to take away from other capital projects, you know, after we've gone this far into developing the budget,
Yeah, the hard part right now to me is we've spent 4 months going through this, and we've communicated to the public, we've held public meetings saying this is what we're going to do, and this is going to be the tax rate. I've done media and have talked to people in the community and said this is what we're going to do. And so by not giving people the opportunity to feed back into it as I think about this now, in terms of saying we've said there's not going to be a tax increase, and so that generated through the public meetings either input or not. And now when we say at the last minute we're going to have a tax increase for them, we haven't given the public the opportunity into that process. And that's the thing I'm just kind of thinking about right now, is that at this late time, after that 4 months, we're here representing those folks, and we've communicated that to them. So that's the issue to me that I'm dealing with right now. And Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, well, council is fully aware of what has led to this, you know, I hate to see some groups of people in our community who've been promised certain things lose those things because of another need that emerges. And so, yeah, I don't put this forward lightly. We all know that there's timelines. We all know that we don't have a great deal of latitude over this project in time. So grant applications, I don't think can be responsive enough and quickly enough, both in quantity and time. And so you know, you rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, I think it is clear that as some of the realities of the situation in the community become clearer and clearer about future expenditures and revenue, we can't really sustain our current revenue levels through taxation. It has to be increased.
As I say, to me, it's just a question of,
Oh, I-
we've spent
I
4 months
hear you.
going through them.
Yeah.
We've communicated to the public, no tax increase, and then at the last minute, we put it on them, and I just feel awkward about that, because I've been out there communicating to people in the media, here's the budget process, here's what we're doing, and then within a week of approving it, we don't give people the opportunity to give us the feedback into it. And so I think there's some aspect there. Anyway, Councilor Roger?
Yeah, I heard last night, you know, how long is a piece of string? So I don't even know how long that piece of string is, so I just, I can't support a tax increase at this point. I'm sure that once we find out how long that piece of string is, then maybe there will be creative ways of finding ways to finance it if we even have to. That's all I got.
Other discussion? Questions? Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? It's defeated. 2.1, reports number 18070 from the CFO regarding the financial plan bylaw 4367, tax rates bylaw 4377, 2018. Need a motion. Councillor Schumann?
I move report number 18070 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the financial plan and tax rates bylaw be received. Further, that the financial plan bylaw number 4367, 2018, and tax rates bylaw number 4377, 2018 be given the first of 3 readings.
Seconded, Councillor McFadden. Discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. We'll record those. Councillor Parcel, Councillor Roger. Any other business? Motion to adjourn. Councillor Rogers, Councillor... Sorry.
I have another motion.
Oh, sorry.
Geez, I just about missed my opportunity. That's what happens when you get old, eh? There's a stack of wood out by the entrance to the City Works yard. It's a stack of poplar that's been there for a number of years. I don't know, it looks like it's been there for about 6 or 8 years. I've had some guys interested in taking it. I would like to see it taken out. I mean, it's sitting there and eventually it's deteriorating all the time, and it'd be nice to see it removed. There's people that are interested in taking it. I'd like to make a motion that we have administration try and find somebody, and I've got one name, but there's quite a bit. There's 50 or 60 cords there, so, you know, probably a number of people would get rid of it and it'd be done.
Sure. Seconded, Councillor Rogers.
I'll second it, and I'll just speak that ahead of you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already did, when I first got elected, it was one of the first things that I put forward a motion to do was to give it to a community group that were supposed, I think it was the Moose or something like that group that were gonna take that firewood and stuff like that, and they hadn't done it. And I still feel bad that I put that motion forward and that group didn't actually come and do what they said they were gonna do. So we were already planning on giving it away, so I can't see why we can't just
I
get
think
rid
the
of it.
motion was that we would give it to that group, and because they haven't, we better make sure we clear it up so that administration can get rid of it. That's all.
Yeah.
Duncan?
Yeah, so through your worship, just, yeah, if approved, we would send notice to the Moose program. This was 2014 when it was approved by council, so we would give them notice that that wood's no longer available, and we've provided it to another user, or we're disposing of it.
Good.
Just note, like I say, I don't know if one person is gonna take it all, because there's quite a bit there. And I don't know what the condition of it is. I mean, on the outside, it's pretty deteriorated. It might be good inside, but inside the deck. But it should be available sort of on an as required, or like,
First come, first serve.
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not gonna
Pack it all
open,
the way, or come take half of it.
Yeah, something of that nature, so that we're not tied into one
Yeah.
person that might go for 2 or 3 years, and we'll be talking about it again.
yeah.
I'll go home and tell Schumann.
All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank
He'll be
you.
down there.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn. Councillor Rogers, Councillor Wilbur, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody.